Check. Yes, we are live. Hello,
Great.
boomers. Hello, everybody. Guys, it should be a split interview, but for the moment we are only with Perry, and so I
Hi.
introduce him. Perry from Travoltas, welcome. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wow. Probably Cliff we will join, but we send the time and he probably arrive later or not, or maybe we will do another interview. But for the moment, we are here with Perry. So, welcome, Perry. How are you? Everything okay?
Everything is fine. Glad to be here, and yeah, hope to have a nice conversation with you.
Yes, of course we will. Last time we saw you was at Punk Rock Raduna. Uh,
Yep.
we still don't know if in 2018 or 19, if someone of the on the chat knows, let us know what of the year. So,
Yeah, I know. I think it was the second. It was the second one, but I'm not really sure if it was 18 or 19. Just too much shit happened in between, so who knows?
yes, many things through the years, and you start to play after a long hiatus. So,
Yeah.
how it's been to come back, arrive in Italy, and play with a huge in a huge festival like Punk Rock Raduno? What was your feeling? Because for many years you stopped the band. So, how was
Yeah.
your feelings that time?
It was amazing because it's just after we quit in 2006, we didn't really do anything until like 2014, and we only did a couple of shows then, and we recorded some songs. But when we did the Raduno, it was like the first uh bigger show that we did. We did some club shows before, but it's just great to see people from back in the day, and they're still hey Alex. uh, it's still great to see so many people that used to come to our shows back in the day, and then they still care about the Travoltas, and it was just an amazing feeling. And yeah, right then we knew, like, okay, we're not going to quit anymore. Now we're just going to keep making music and do shows whenever we can.
What you make quit for the first time?
But we were really tired of it. We started in 1990, so by the time we quit, we were already together like about 16 years, and we pretty much done everything we wanted to do with the band, and we were we were trying to do other stuff with our lives, and people wanted to move on and do other things. So we decided, okay, if we cannot do it full time anymore, we're just gonna say, okay, that was it. We had fun, and there were no fights or anything. We were just we were all in agreement, like, okay, this is the right time to just call it quits, and we did a couple of shows, and that was it.
I guess now many bands can do the same and keep on with the band like a
Yeah.
part-time band, and I guess it's
Right.
cool because now only maybe the band from the USA go on tour all the time, but you
Yeah.
will still having a band, meet maybe play 4 or 5 show here, make a record every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Now I guess you can stay in a band and be relaxed because many bands now we are everybody adults can. Afford the band of in the adult times, so I guess
Yeah.
everybody can play right now.
Yeah, and it works well. Like, you know, it's times are different than 15 years ago, and when we quit, because now it's easier to stay in touch. It's easier to write songs together, record songs there. You just send each other your ideas, and we got in the band. We have 3 people with studios, so it's very easy for us to continue. It doesn't cost that much time and effort like it used to. So we don't have the time and effort anymore, like back in the day when we did it full time. So we have families. We have a lot of us have jobs. I have my studio, and Tim has a studio, and Woody has a studio. So we're all like very busy, but there's still there's still time for the Travoltas, and whenever we want to do something, we do it. And whenever we have a good idea for a song, we'll record it. And maybe it takes a little bit longer than back in the day, but we still managed to do it.
Perfect. We are here in this interview to talk about, here we are, this split. I guess is one of the long. It takes almost 20 years to take place that split.
Yeah.
So, if you want to tell about the story, when start the idea, I think back in the fall 2000, so maybe 23 years ago.
Yeah. So we have our common connection was Marky Ramone. So we did a tour with Marky, and it was 1997, and then Marky Ramone produced our second album, Modern World. And then shortly after that, I think a year or two later, they went on tour with Marky Ramone, and they toured in Europe. And that's how we met, because I believe they played in our hometown with Marky. And so we met up with the band, and we had a good night, and we got the idea, well, let's do something together, let's do a split. But you know how these things go, you have a couple of beers, and then you get the best ideas, and it just takes a long time to realize it, if at all. But we stayed in touch, and I stayed in touch with Josh throughout the years. But then we quit, and I believe they quit at one point too. So then it didn't happen. And then we got back together. They got back together as well. And then we reconnected again. And I thought, okay, why not do it? Like, this is the moment. We're all like a little older. Well, we can spend some time on it. There's no rush because it's already been 20 years. So, another year, another 2 years, doesn't matter. Let's just make it happen. And thanks to Andre at Striped and Sexy Baby Records and those guys all together, we were able to get it out there.
The way you do the split is a typical split with an unreleased song from each band, 2 covers of each other band, and one cover from the 50s. So the typical split would cover each other band was a question for both, but for, your unreleased song about that was already when did you write that song?
The original song or the covers that we did?
The original.
Yeah, that was the ideas were there, but it was like really written and finished for this split. Like, there were some ideas that we had lying around, but we really wanted to come up with something special for this album.
And how do you choose 2 covers from the Huntingtons? You choose "Hooray for You" and "The Last Time You Left."
Yeah, it's very difficult because they have so many albums with so many great songs. So we literally we done our homework. We all retreated and individually and went through the whole catalog, listened to all the songs again, and then we made a short list of what everyone liked, and these 2 came out on top. And we had a couple of other ones that we wanted to do as well, but this was just a good fit for us too. We listened to them and we heard like, okay, we can kind of make this a Travoltas production.
And for the 50 cover, you choose Red River Rock.
Yeah.
And both band, you did some original work, not expected for me, because it's not the punk rock cover of a classic from the 50s, but you play a 50 song in the 50 ways, both band, I guess.
Yeah. I think, especially Huntingtons, they did an awesome job by just staying a little bit more true to the original. and I think it's nice because it shows what a band can be outside of the what everyone is used to, what everyone expects. So, and we wanted to do that too. We wanted to bring a little bit more rock and roll in the sound, and really go for that almost kitschy organ sound that Johnny and the Hurricanes are famous for, which I love. I love that band. I can listen to it for hours on end, and we always wanted to do that song, and for me it was a little easier because I didn't have to sing, but it was, yeah, it's a great song to cover, and I'm glad we did it.
Huntingtons made two cover of your song, but many bands played Travolta's songs. How does it feel to many bands try to play your songs in different way, make you proud, and you discover something of your song played by other bands?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's an honor if any band plays a Travolta song. It doesn't matter if it's a Huntingtons or an unknown band somewhere in a small town, wherever. It doesn't matter. It means that the songs that we wrote or that we released mean something to people, and it's great that there are bands out there that can interpret it the way they are hearing it, with their own music and their own way of playing. And I think the Huntingtons did such an awesome job by just, especially with what they did to "You Got What I Need," made us think like, oh, maybe we should play it like that live because it's way more fun, because we've been playing that song for like 20 years. So, the way they played, I love it. To me, it was a great surprise, and it really sounds more like a Huntington song. So it's great. It's great to hear that they were able to adapt it like that.
Really nice. You have a typical sound with Travoltas, and now with you write, you enter in that mood, and so we maybe. Oh, for sure, during the years your listening gonna change, but your sound is really solid. So when you wrote all together, what are your idea to write a Travolta song?
I think it's just a natural thing. It's just how we hear our music, and a lot of it is our influences. The Beach Boys, big productions like Phil Spector with a lot of layers and a lot of extra things that thicken the sound. And we've always done that. And we started off a little bit different, but once we found our sound, we always stuck to that. And it's really how we just yeah, it's hard to explain. I think no matter what kind of song we write, it always will end up sounding like the Travoltas. It's very strange. It doesn't matter like if I write the songs or if Dan or Mickey or Tim writes a song. It all when we play it, it just sounds like us because we have a way of layering things and adding uh, harmonics with our voices and the way we add guitar layers on top of each other is just how we do things. So it quickly becomes a Travolta song.
Yes, because through the years, any times you release some new material or listen to something old, you catch and say, yes, that's Travolta's. How do you say in a famous song, Travolta style?
Yeah,
One for the road.
yeah,
This the perfect song to be on tour. Speaking with other members of many bands, where every band when going on tour, there's the moment of listening One for the Road because I get is a perfect photograph of a band of tour when you
yeah,
say
yeah,
it's quiet in the van today, but everybody's doing okay. So
yeah, yeah.
it's
I
such
mean,
a
I think.
perfect song. How do you feel to listen again this song through the years?
Well, it's always been a favorite of ours to play. We like to open the set with it because it's a lot of people know it, and it's one of our more popular songs, I would say. Uh, but it's a special song because everyone who's ever been in a band, who's ever been, from home more than, like, let's say 3 4 days in a van with a bunch of friends, knows what that's about, and it's just that feeling when you're on the road with people that are very close to you, and you go through all kinds of adventures, and sometimes more fun, sometimes not so much, but you always look back at the situations with a smile, because you're on the road with the band. It's what you always wanted to do when you were a little kid or something,
Yeah.
or a teenager when you started playing your instrument. So it is very typical for especially any punk rock band who's been, you know, been in a van for the past 10 years, So everybody can relate to that.
Is that the song more requested at your shows? Which is your most popular songs in your opinion?
I think that's one of them. Usually Pray for Sun,
Okay.
Pacifico's Highway. Um, uh, yeah, like I think the Teen Beat Endless Summer uh, e- era is probably our most requested um, library of songs, I would say.
I was thinking before because I was doing it through my collection, and I have a CD of Endless Summer. It's not maybe so easy to find on vinyl. Have you ever think about repress? Many bands are repressing their older material.
Yeah.
Have you ever think about the repress of that album that is not easy to find on vinyl?
Yeah, it's true. Of course, we're thinking about it. We re-released Teen Beat, or that was never released on vinyl, so that was on Stardump a couple of years ago, um, and we re-released our EP. Uh, I mean, Endless Summer was such a good album for us, so it's definitely on our mind to re-release it on vinyl. A lot of people have been asking for it because, like you said, it's very hard to find. I myself have only one copy, and I never want to put it on my record player because I don't want to ruin it, because it's the only one I have. But yeah, hopefully we can make it happen, and it would be great to uh, to have people play that record on their turntables again.
Yes, of course, because I think that a great album need to be repressed.
Yeah,
It came out in the CD era, so many of us got in the CD. And
yeah.
of course, I'm really happy about all these repress because makes a chance to have on vinyl. And I guess for a great album, it's okay to buy a couple times because the really good albums deserve to have more copy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
With
Well,
this
I hope Endless Summer it falls into that category. That would be great.
this split has been pressed on vinyl, CDs, and even cassette.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. So that's awesome because, uh, as far as I know, cassettes are making sort of a comeback. I'm not really sure who's playing them, but it's just fun to have, and especially people, if I may say, of our age, they remember, having those cassettes and making mixtapes, and that's how you used to discover new music. There was no Spotify back in the day, so you would trade your tapes, or that was how we found new friends and new like-minded people, and that's how you connected scenes, and so it's cool to have that on cassette.
Um, from when you start the band from now, maybe in this year the musical industry changed in so many ways. What do you miss the most from the past time, and what you like the most from these times?
Well, what I like the most now is
Yes.
that it's just very easy to get something out. It's very easy to connect with people in the band, write a song, each in their own environment, and then just put it out. We could basically put it out the next day if we wanted to, and the world will know about it because you can share it on social media, and you can have it on Spotify within a few days. So that is great, and it also is great for new bands because that's how you need to do it nowadays. You gotta still do your self promotion, but it's easier to just get it out. You don't need to find a label first and hope you'll find someone who wants to release it. But that said, at the same time, it's sort of a curse because I feel there's so much out there, and not everything is good, of course, but it makes it really hard for new bands that are really good to get to even float above the surface a little bit, to get your music heard, because there's
It's
so
really
much out there and
difficult.
you have to do so much promotion, and it's kind of crazy. And what I miss the most, actually, to be honest, is just be a band, um, and rehearse your songs, rehearse before you go into the studio. That was something special. And people don't do that anymore. Like, people write in their own homes, and they record each their own parts, and there's just less of a band. And I see it all around me. A lot of bands work like that. It's just the times we live in. But I think, when you're together as a band, I think the music was a little bit better, to be honest, because you were feeding off each other, you were feeding ideas off each other, and you were just uh, discovering things by accident, and those things almost don't happen anymore. So, um, and what I what I what I miss as a listener is that the excitement of a new record coming out of your favorite band. You would wait for it because it would be announced, and you would wait for it for like maybe months, and then you would go to the record store, and it wasn't there yet, and you had to go back the next day, it wasn't there yet, and maybe next week, is it in? Yeah, and then you would buy it, you would go home, you would put it on, you would listen to it. You wouldn't be doing anything else. You wouldn't be like doing the dishes, or you wouldn't be in the subway, or you wouldn't be on your way to work or to school. You would be at home in front of your stereo. You were listening to the music, and you would be reading the liner notes and all the information that was on the sleeve. And that was a special moment, because you would really take the time to listen to the music that your favorite artist created. And that kind of excitement and experience, uh, yeah, I don't know if it's still there. Maybe some people still listen to music like that. I would like to think so, but I think most people don't, and that's what I miss the most.
Yes, I guess from all the thing you said, rehearsals is really important because I go to many shows, and you can see the band that don't really rehearse too much,
Yeah,
because maybe sometimes bands from small town, maybe in their core scene, can have a lot of energy, and you
yeah,
can see this band rehearsing a lot because they made
yeah,
some perfect shows, and some other band maybe from bigger town, and you say they are not so compact from themselves.
yeah,
An example, I of the a big band like Off with Kit Morris. I saw them a few days ago in London, and I say, wow, that band made a perfect set. And this is important because the energy you can build your energy rehearsing together
yeah.
from every part of the show, every song, how you make the song together, and this can make a difference for a show, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and but at the same time, I understand. Like, for us, it's hard too to get together and to rehearse, because I live in Sweden. We have two guys living in Belgium, two in Amsterdam, and one close to where we're from. So it's just very difficult to meet up and rehearse together. But I, we're lucky that we've been doing it for a long time, so we know our songs. You know, it doesn't. We don't have to learn them from scratch. But if you're a young band and you're trying to come up, nothing beats just beat together and rehearse 3-4 times a week, and before you do any show or before you go into the studio, just know your songs in and out, because it makes all the difference.
How do you compose your set list for the shows? Because I guess there's some late stuff you like to play, maybe some other classic you cannot accept from your set list.
Yeah.
How do you compose
Well,
set list?
so since we keep putting out new stuff lately, we want to play some of the new stuff, but it has to be the stuff that fits into a set, and we like to see. We know we have like a short list of songs that just have to be in there. We want to play them. We know that people like to hear them, so we're going to play those 9 out of 10 times. And then we like to switch it up every once in a while, maybe play a few older ones from like the first album, the fast skate punk album, or play some new tracks and see how the people respond to it. And it's fun to play new stuff because it's fun for us too, because we haven't played them a zillion times yet, so it's fresh and we can try out new things. But yeah, we try to find songs that are a good match, and we try to put them in blocks that excites people and that just give the show a lot of energy and some highlights, and then we take it easy, and then we just want to give a nice evening to the people, like a good show, like where people can enjoy themselves and take a breather and then just go back in the pit and finish it off.
I have a good news because Cliff can join us. So
Oh, awesome.
welcome, Cliff. Ciao, Cliff.
There he is.
I'm so sorry. I thought 20 o'clock was 10 o'clock. I'm so stupid.
Yes, we but now we're here. We had some question with Perry about the split, and now we're making an interview. So it's great to have you here. And I make a question I already did to Perry. And
Okay.
how long does it feel to take more than 20 years for do a split with a band?
Right. Well, about the same as it felt to take over 20 years to get back to Europe. So that was pretty awesome. But I don't know. The proof is in how good it all turned out. It's amazing. It's really great. I just love the whole thing from beginning to end. How it flows. How it's. I think the listener is not going to be able to say, hey, I like this side more than that side. It just all works really, really well as one album. It's just so good. I love it. I think it's the best thing that the Huntingtons have ever done, and I am extremely proud to be on it with these boys, because the Travoltas are just phenomenal, as we all know, and it's just great to be able to be on this. So
Perfect. And now that I have both band here, I want to make a question. There's a chance to make the split in real life, so a show together when we do that songs you played there.
oh, is there a chance that we could ever play together?
Yeah, play together for
I
the
would say
promotion of the
probably
split,
20
maybe.
2024. So not this year, but next year, Punk Rock Reduno. Maybe we can get the Huntingtons and Travoltas. We'll all come out on stage together and do that. Or maybe we'll play and then they'll play after us, or something like that.
Wow,
That would work for us. And then if we go over there next year, we'd probably go over there for a little bit longer. And so we might have a chance to play a show or two with them, which would be
That would be
cool.
awesome. Yeah, that would be great. I think it would be just an epic event if we could team up and just do shows together. Just even if it's just a couple of shows, just to be on the road together and meet some incredible people and play our songs and just to share the stage together would be so awesome.
I couldn't agree more. And we all like the same tones, so we can all use the same amps and guitars. So it's all good.
It'd be easy.
That's really great news. So we have an anticipation from Punk Rock Raduno 2024. Wow.
Yes.
I already had to parry many splits. The band cover themselves. How does it feel to cover a band like Travoltas? How do you choose the songs?
Well, it was easy because their sound, I would imagine it was fairly easy for them too, because our sounds are very, I mean, obviously they're more Beach Boys, we're more Ramones, but still, I mean, it just really, it coincides really well together. So it wasn't hard for us to pick. We just went to their early days, got a couple tracks that we thought we could kind of make our own. We did. We sent it to Perry. He was like, I really like these a lot. These make me like these songs again. So we knew we had kind of done something good with them. And then when we heard their version of ours, it was just like, oh my gosh. It was like, so yeah, the Windowsill, we've had a few bands that have covered our songs over the years. And the first one that did it where we were just like, oh, was when the Windowsill did Too Late. And we were just blown away by how good that was. And this was even more than that. It was just so good. A Fresh Spin is the least of what you can say about it. It just is so professional. It sounded great. It made us feel happy and kind of important, honestly, to have a band like them do our song and then have it sound like that. It was like, yeah, hey, these really are good songs. Listen to that. You know, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but we were discussing this before, Cliff, and we felt the same. Like for us, it was hard to pick songs because, you know, we had our short list and there were so many to pick from, you know. So like, which one shall we take? And we really went for the ones that we thought, okay, these are a little bit close to us. Maybe we can pull this off, you know. And it was just
they sound like your song.
And when I heard your versions, I'm like, okay, this is how we should play You Got What I Need, because frankly, we don't want to play that song anymore. But now we're going to play your version of it because it's just more fun to play like that. So
by all means, you have at it.
Talking about the 50s covers, are in my way unexpected because for both bands, I told Perry before, is not the typical cover a punk rock band can make from the old song. But in different ways, you plays a 50s song like you were a band from the 50s?
Yes, we both did that. I would agree. Yeah. I think their song just totally
you
nails.
You talked together about the 50s songs, or it was unexpected?
No,
it was total coincidence.
Yep, we had no idea. I think it was just like Josh told us, yeah, we have to pick a song from the 50s, and they're going to do one too, but we had no idea what they did. We chose our song. It was really just Mike said, I want to do this. And we were like, okay. So we just did that, and it's just great. Even their new song is so fantastic, and then our new song, we're real proud of it, and it's just like,
yeah, it's great,
man. It's just great. Even down to the Joey Ramone clips, the way everything all ties together. It's just, I love the album. It's my favorite thing I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, it's great. It's just it was just an honor to hear you guys play the songs and just to finally just get it together and make it happen. And you know, big shout out to Striped and Sexy Baby Records, because you know it's I guess they put the fire under it a little bit, because otherwise it may have taken another 10 years or so. But I'm so proud of it, you know.
Yeah, really, I mean, honestly, Josh Blackway, our other guitar player, he was the real guy. He had been pushing this for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And we were just like, I don't know. I mean, just kind of like, whatever, we'll find out. But it was always like, for years and years and years, it was real, the thought of even going back into the studio at all was just something like, yeah, okay, whatever. Nobody needs that, you know.
Yeah.
And then when we started to get serious and we'd been playing again as a band long enough that the idea of going into the studio was a good idea. And then we did our last album, and then we did the Ramones cover album. So then this just fit right along. Josh was like, hey, let's revisit this again. Let's do this. And so he contacted you, and you and him kind of went through it. And so he really put it all together. And then he kind of lit the fire with us. And we all, for me, it was just like Mike and us. We were just kind of all, we have a little daily text message thread we all talk to each other on. And it all just happened on that back and forth. So it was just like, yep, learn these 2 songs. And we were like, yeah, okay. I mean, you know, he said, hey, we think these 2 songs would be good. What do you guys think? And then I looked at them on YouTube, and we were like, yes, definitely. That's no problem. And, you know, obviously we did a little twist on one of them. Like we changed their, because look, they're the Travoltas are very adventurous in the way that they.
It's a nice way to put it. Adventurous. Yeah.
It is. You are like, you know, you can take 3 simple chords, but then you pile things on, and you make it seem very, not just inventive, but complicated. You know what I mean? So we kind of had to dumb it down a little bit for ourselves, you know. So, but we also kind of, so the end of the one song, we kind of did it. I had the idea of making it be kind of a nod to one of our old songs, you know, because it's real similar, and so that worked out real well. And I don't know how many times I can say it's just great. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the title of the split, and both tracks start with the quote from Jerome: "Rock and roll, universal, international problem." How do you choose that title of split?
Totally came from Joey Ramone on Howard Stern, walking in the hallway that we took from. We were all trying to come up with a name for it, and Perry, you guys hadn't said anything, and we were kind of as a band, we're very much project oriented. Like we think in terms of, really comes from Mike and I from our old days of dreaming about being in a band someday and being professional and stuff, and just like making covers and thinking of album titles, that whole kind of thing you do when you're loving the idea of guitars and bands and stuff when you're a kid. And so we just kind of still do that, and we were just thinking about what would be a good idea for this. And Josh Blackway said he sent over the clip of Joey, like it was some clip that he found online, and he was like, yeah, this something with this would be cool. And we were listening to it, and I don't remember who, it might have even been his idea to call it, and then maybe I streamlined it a little or something, and got it into, that would be a great title. And then it just made a lot of sense because it is literally international. So we got the Netherlands and the USA. So boom, it just made a lot of sense. It's a world between us. And then it was really about how to go, what are we going to do for the cover and all that kind of stuff. So
I already did that question to Perry. So Cliffy, from where you start your career as a band, from now, the musical industry is totally changed in many ways. It's something really, really different. What do you like most now, and what do you miss from the past?
Weird. Honestly, I don't think we're different at all. I think that, I think it's, I think it's just growth. I think it's exactly the same if you listen to, we're literally a mirror of the Ramones. If you listen to the first Ramones album, then you listen to Adios Amigos, and it's the same band, but it's 20-something years between them. It's different if you go and listen to the first album, then you listen to like Brain Drain or something, different. But you go from there to there, and it's very similar, I think, if you go from Sweet 16 to this. In fact, our first song on this, I Don't Want to Be Wrong, to me, sounds like something that could have been on Adios Amigos by the Ramones. It has that, it's a little bit slower, but still the big chugging thing. So, one of the things you appreciate when you're young, it's just like, oh, fast, punk rock, ah. And when you get older, you start realizing, ooh, songwriting. Oh, this is better if I slow this down a little bit and the melody gets a chance to breathe more. You learn and realize that kind of stuff. That just makes you better at what you do. But yeah, when we started, we weren't downstrokes, and by the time of our second album, we were half downstrokes. I was all downstrokes, the other guitar player wasn't. And then by the time of the third album, Forever On, it was all downstrokes and Johnny Ramone and Johnny Ramone and on and on and on. So I don't think there's anything other. I think it's better. I think songwriting's improved a lot, but I don't think our style has changed an enormous amount. We've just gotten a lot better at being the Ramones, Screeching Weasel, and the Queers all mixed together.
And talking about the industries, so you can release more easily a song, but maybe there's less attention because back in the days, a guy have to wait a lot for a new album. And like a listener and a maker of music, what do you miss most on the past and you like now?
Did you already answer that, Perry?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're just doing the interview. I'm so sorry about this.
Already
okay, so I really love in the old days that how you could cultivate an audience and play a show, and you could go on tour, and by the second or third time you came through town, there were tons of kids there all singing along to your songs and everything. So the growth potential of bands back then. It was a lot different. You would read about bands in magazines or fanzines, I guess, and you would go into a record store and find something old. And it was really about you kind of in the really old days, you knew about a band mostly because you found them in a record store and you thought the front cover looked cool, and you turned it over and you thought the band looked cool. And then maybe if you look at the special thanks, you would see the different bands that they would thank in the special thanks, and you'd be like, I think I might like this. That was before they even had like listening stations in CD stores and stuff. So, but the very start of our career, it really happened because the record label did something that we thought was really stupid, and that they put a sticker on the front cover of our album that said, "This is a punk rock record." We were pissed off at that. Actually, we thought it was totally dumb because back then we thought it was a very punk rock to not look like what you sounded like. So we dressed up like we were in the Beatles and stuff on our first record. It was totally stupid. Obviously, we found out in short order that wasn't a good idea. But I miss the fact of going on tour and even it's almost like your band would be handed down to your fans' younger brothers and sisters when they grew up, and then the next line would come in, and there would be a new set of kids that would filter in, and all that kind of stuff. So all of it's gone now. Now we're all playing to the same people. So now we're all playing for people that are 30 and early 40s. I'm 53, so they're all like 30 and early 40s now. And back then, music was the youth culture for decades and decades and decades, and it isn't anymore. And now it's video games, and so now you're, can you get everything immediately? Yes, but now nothing has value anymore either. Music used to be a commodity that people, they had record collections, man. They went and they bought albums and they bought CDs, and they had this giant amount of collection in their room that took up all this space, and it was important to them, and it was identifying to them, and it made them feel a part of a group. And you would spend hours. I did this too. You'd spend hours looking at the artwork and reading and memorizing who the producers were and who the people in the bands were and who the bands that they liked and what they were. It was just this never-ending culture thing that you were a part of, and it's not like that at all anymore. So I miss that aspect of it a lot. I miss reading about bands in books and magazines and stuff like that. And all that kind of stuff is just different, but that's okay. It's just the old man get off my lawn talking.
I had exactly the same answer, so I guess we're old man yelling.
Really similar. I guess you did an awesome job, even with the graphic of this record, with both parts, with to split the covers. If having a record shop and look at that cover and say, oh, fuck, I want to check these guys, with the 50 Imaginario, with a college jacket, who chose the cover?
You're talking about the Rock and Roll Universal International Problem cover?
Yes.
You want to know who did it?
Yes, who chose the cover and the Imaginario?
Okay. Do you know anything about this, Perry?
Well, I know that you guys worked with an artist, right? But we started talking about something that we wanted to do that was that we had in common, because we both had a period where we would wear these jackets, right? For us, it was the high school reunion album. We had the whole tour. We wore the jackets. They were freaking hot on stage, but we bit the bullet and just be good sports about it. But and you guys had it too. I think you guys were earlier than us. Maybe we stole it from you. I don't know.
Ours was 98.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah. Ours was that was 2004. So we definitely
way to steal from us. We knew you took it from us. That's okay. We actually took the idea from, there was a band here locally in Philadelphia that we kind of saw a little bit, and their singer used to walk around the shows, and he had one of those, and we thought it was cool. We just took it from him. So
yeah.
You can play an entire set with that jacket.
Yeah,
he did, not me.
Yeah, they did. I still have the jacket. I washed it though, but
yeah, I graduated to leather. The regular Ramones biker leather jacket. I play that on stage now. I've recently been taking to playing that for the whole show, but usually it's like 3 or 4 songs in, off it comes, just like Johnny did. So.
Yes, because it's always difficult to make a cover for a split record that represent perfectly 2 bands. And in this case, it's perfect because both bands are fully represented in this cover. So, great job.
Well, look, there's more thought behind it than you might realize. So, the Huntingtons is represented by a blonde, and Travoltas is represented by a brunette. And this is because Perry's wife is a brunette, and Mike's wife, at least, used to be a blonde. And so that's why we did that. Mike's daughter actually drew all that. She's really talented with all this. We actually had another artist that was working on this with these themes and everything, but what he came back with just to us kind of looked like Beavis and Butthead kind of art, and we didn't really like that. Beavis and Butthead, and what's the other one that those guys do?
King of the Hill.
That's it.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like
that. Everybody was kind of ugly and stuff, which has its own aesthetic in punk rock, but we don't really want it to look like we're making fun of anything. So we just thought this worked out good. And the original idea actually was to have a map kind of like on the back of Rocket to Russia. And it was going to be like the Netherlands over here and the United States over here, and like us standing over here and you guys standing over there. But it couldn't come together really as an effective cover. So we went with this, and certainly with the band's themes of the 2 records and everything, it just made a lot of sense. And we even did the old colors, from the same old colors that we did back then and everything. So
yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's almost 9 here, so. We go out with the last question, and what we can expect in the early future from both bands. Who want to start, Perry?
Well, we're working on some new material. We hope that we can do an album, but it's like we said before, it's you cannot spend the amount of time or the amount of energy and the amount of effort in the same amount of time as we used to. So this will be spread out maybe for the next year or 2 years, but we definitely want to either do an EP or preferably an whole album and do some shows, whenever we can. Like I said, we're pretty spread out over Europe right now, but whenever we see an opportunity to do something fun as a band, we'll definitely grab it and do shows and make music for sure.
A question for both before Cliffy. Now, an EP is better than an album for many bands because it's shorter and you can release an EP with in less time. What do you think about in 2023? Maybe an EP is more lighter to produce?
Can you guys still see me?
Yes.
Okay, because my computer is getting all weird, and I don't know what it's doing. But if you guys can still see me, I'll trust that this is okay.
Yep.
So I still really like the album.
Yeah.
This split with with Travoltas is really just 2 EPs, obviously. But because it's put together, it makes it a full album, and it's totally awesome. So I really like music that way.
And from the same question I already did to Perry, what we can expect from the Huntingtons in the next future?
Well, so January and February and March, we were supposed to be writing a new album to record this summer or fall for a 2024 release. Awesome. But we got sidetracked with instead creating a brand new set that was very inventive in the way the songs all go together and a bunch of songs we've never played before and stuff like that. And we just put together this really cool set because we're about to go. We're doing a few dates with SAC, which are I don't know if you know who they are. They're awesome. Yep. Okay, good. Yeah, a couple guys from Teenage Bottle Rocket, and just fantastic band. Been around for a long time, actually. And so we're going to do some shows with them. So we were preparing for that, and then another short thing we're doing in April with a really cool band too. So we kind of got sidetracked a bit, but we'll get back to it. And so the idea is to do another full-length album. And I just did an album actually. I have a studio project, and then I have another band as well. My other band is called the Stivs, and it's like a New York Dolls AC/DC kind of mix thing. It's really cool. And then the other band is kind of a solo thing, but it's a band. It's Johnny Walker. That's my actual name is Jonathan Walker. Cliff is my middle name. So it's called Johnny Walker and the Satisfaction. And Perry's actually mixing that right now. And that turned out really good. It's 8 songs, but it's a full-length album. And that'll be coming out, comes out on June 3rd, which is the same day I'm getting married, which is awesome. I'm very excited about that. And all the songs are about that relationship. But they're fun for the normal person to listen to. They'll still be awesome for people who listen to them other than her, but they're meant for her. But that's stylistically, that's like Tom Petty, Rolling Stones, Neil Young. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. It's the songwriting, the performances, the way it sounds is just a really good record. And awesome. I'm super proud of that I'm even a part of it as a mixer. But it's a great record. Really, people are going to be excited about this.
Yeah, and that's something that I'll be doing probably another couple full lengths of those in the next year or two of the same kind of material. It's basically my outlet for all my material that I write. I write all the time, so it's really good to be able to get this material out that's not appropriate for Huntingtons, but I still really, really, really like, and I think people will like, and I think Huntingtons fans will still like this, especially since most of them are older. But I think the link isn't too extreme. I mean, I don't know. I think our fans will like it, but it's me singing, which, oh no, but it works out good. It works out okay. It's good. I'm proud of it.
Perfect. So thank you very much for being here presenting the split. Tomorrow will be the podcast on my YouTube channel, and you will see the link for order in the US and in Europe. Really thanks to Andrea Manges for organizing the interview, and thanks for you guys. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, man. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see ya on Wednesday. Tomorrow I will be in Venice. So see you soon, and take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.